We have discussed this frame reference externalization in context to transformational change on this platform in this discussion stream quite a few times before. But discussion of this topic as many times as possible is vital. It is never enough. This is the single most critical topic that is vital in this process of change connected to the global pharma industry. Albert Einstein once said, beautifully defined, encapsulated his approach of problem solving by defining it as a vital quality for a solution to be placed at a different level as compared to the problem. The problem, a challenge, a crisis situation operates at a particular level of work processes, of personality types, of thinking patterns, a particular level of financial engagement, a particular level of attitudes and approaches, a particular level of mindsets, most importantly. Whereas for a true solution to happen in the transformational change process, which is what is necessary which is what is happening in the global pharma industry, for a true change to happen, it is vital that the solution is placed, begins, initiates, has its roots beyond this level of the problem. And this apparently simple concept definition by Albert Einstein opens up an area of light in context to the area of darkness of a particular problem situation. There is an area of shadow that is created, an area of bias, an area of subjectivity that is created by a problem situation. It is vital that a window is opened in a space that is entirely beyond this zone of shadow of the problem. As the famous example goes, that darkness can get accumulated for 1 second, for 1 minute, for 1 week, for 1 month, or for ages. But light, a ray of light, is all it takes to clean that darkness. And that ray of light takes the same amount of time to clean the darkness, whether that irrespective of how long the darkness has accumulated. It is because the nature, the definition of light is categorically different from the nature, the definition of darkness. And it is here that the entire situation of the global pharma crisis today, in the R&D and business models in the global pharmaceutical industry, in the top 10 global pharma companies, it is here that the fine-tuning of the problem-solution equation needs to be adjusted. There are quite a few solutions that are being tried, tested over the past few years, almost for a decade now. As soon as you look at those solutions, especially by being inside the global pharma industry, it is evident that all of those solutions are connected to the evolving area, the evolving scope of the problem. All of those solutions are triggered by a panic reaction of avoiding the problem, of avoiding the challenge and the crisis situation, somehow escaping it. The approach and attitude of objectively looking at the problem from outside requires one essential ingredient, and only one essential ingredient, which is to find a frame of reference that is beyond the scope, beyond the entire zone, the area of the problem, of the challenge, of the crisis situation. And the tricky trap that the global pharma R&D and global pharma business models have is the fantastic success of the old models of global R&D and business in the pharmaceutical industry. This success does not allow the higher management, the leaders, the possibility to think that there can be something integral, inherently wrong, faulty in these R&D and business models in the global pharma industry that have been excellent and very successful so far, but that they have lived their life, that their life cycle is now in a different phase. This single small point concept is being neglected by the global pharma, top 10 pharma companies, and hence all the solutions that are proposed, that are being worked upon, are in a way within the scope of the problem, and for a few days, for a few weeks, it appears, because of the initial excitement of the solutions, that suddenly there is some new therapeutic area that becomes exciting, there is suddenly some new regulatory route that becomes exciting, there is suddenly some new approach of looking at R&D models via stem cell research, via genetic engineering, via gene signature, that suddenly becomes attractive and exciting. But that attraction and excitement only lasts for a very brief period of time. As things progress, the period of time that it lasts is reducing, getting shorter and shorter. For a few months, for a few weeks, sometimes even for a few days. Some marketing gimmicks are thought about, some ways of bypassing some hurdles and challenges are thought about. The thing is that all of these solutions are designed and thought about and presented by individuals that are extremely intelligent, very valuable individuals, unfortunately governed by the same mindset that originates the problem, the same mindset that has successfully driven this blockbuster model theory for so many years, and at the same time driving on that success also possesses the inherent flaw in it. And it is a bootstrap paradox. It is impossible for these leaders, for the higher management, to step out of this entire success mode beyond the reach of the problem to find a frame of reference from where true creativity, truly new and fresh approaches can be looked upon for this problem, for this challenge. If the entire situation is conceptualized in this simple, easy, and direct way, that to find a solution, the first vital critical step is to delineate the zone, the entire zone of the problem, and to step out easily to find a frame of reference that is beyond this zone, this delineation, and then begin the creative process for solutions. The reason this is difficult and painful is that finding a frame of reference that is beyond this zone of problem requires prioritizing detachment, let go of the entire ship, of the entire burning platform, the entire structure that is the source of pride, the source of ego for the higher management, for the top leaders, for the entire global pharma industry for decades. To let go of that structure, to allow detachment with that structure to be prioritized over attachment, over to find some way, some solution of saving it in some way. It is important that this detachment and let go is 100%. And to know that yes, it has been a source of great pride, success, happiness, well-being for a huge majority of the global population, in addition to the stakeholders of the pharma industry, but it is now a time to let go. And this small, simple, painful point is what obstructs the higher management of the global pharma industry from looking for a frame of reference that is beyond the entire problem situation. If this small point is looked upon carefully, diligently, and the global pharma industry is full of intelligent, wise minds, talent, skill that have accumulated there because of this beautiful value of the global pharma industry for decades now. All of this intelligence, wisdom, if it does find a frame of reference that is beyond the scope of the problem, can easily come up with so many creative solutions. If we as a very small entity can come up with a few solutions, then it is definitely possible for all of this accumulated intelligence and wisdom inherent in the minds of the global pharma leaders to find these solutions. But it is extremely essential to start to make the beginning from this simple point of finding a frame of reference that is beyond the scope of the problem. With our small resources, with our limited resources, we have come up with a few frames of reference. One involving the emerging market mindset to be used as not merely a way to the generic versus original research, pharma R&D differentiation, but to look at the emerging market mindset as a way of placing the frame of reference in the area of chaos, in the area of emerging energy, in the area of new creativity, in reference to the developed market mindset. The Nataraj model offers a frame of reference which involves acceptance of devolution and evolution as an integral part of any model of any life cycle process, and objectively involving tangible measurements of variables on this devolution evolution axis to act as a trigger for creative solutions from a frame of reference again which is beyond the crisis situation. So far, the developed mind has always functioned on logic, and on this one of the strengths is the rational mind. To use the more softer, subtler, meditative and spiritual mind, the meditative and spiritual aspect of life, to place the frame of reference in this zone, which is beyond the zone of the rational mind, which is one critical element involved in the problem situation. These are just a few ways of looking at the frame of reference externalization point in context to the problem situation for the global pharma R&D and business models. We are very sure that there are several such ways of putting these frames of reference beyond the problem situation. Just like Albert Einstein said, the initiation of the solution needs to happen from a different level as compared to the problem. And that is the approach that we have tried to reiterate several times. And reiteration as often as possible is necessary to convey this single fine point into the collective consciousness, into the collective intellect of the global pharma leaders, higher management, to trigger that process of creativity. Our voice is small, but definitely not inconsequential. There are quite a few creative minds across the global pharma industry scenario today that do relate with and understand this fine point and have and are working already in their own way to trigger these creative solutions. It is important that as we go ahead, the critical mass of thinking connected with this particular point of placing the frame of reference beyond the problem becomes far bigger than the critical mass of the current problem solving attitude in the global pharma industry, which is the center of gravity for which is within the problem area, some or the other way connected with the problem area. And it is important that this happens soon, because the more and more the solutions are proposed and connected and worked upon from the problem zone, more and more resources, time, energy, money, intellect and wisdom that would otherwise be utilized in a better way goes as a brain drain, as an intellect drain, as a resource drain, producing no results, no outcomes. And hence it is vital that this center of gravity for the solution shifts to this level of creativity, which is beyond the level of the entire problem scope and problem definition.